Hey Health Junkies, Dr. Kraus here. Just wanted to jump in and let you know about a new feature that I'm adding to the podcast. It's the ability to ask me questions. I've had a ton of folks tell me that they would love for me to cover their questions on the podcast, so I'm going to do it. So each week I will be adding a couple of questions that I'm going to answer to each of the podcasts. And if it's a juicy enough question, I just may dedicate a whole podcast to it. So if you're interested in asking a question, head on over to my website at drjkrausnd.com. Check out a blue button on the right-hand side that says Ask a Podcast Question. Hit me up there. Or you can also access the button through my podcast notes, also on my website. So head on over there, ask me some questions. I look forward to answering them soon. All right, let's get on with the podcast.
Hey, Health Junkies! It's time for The Health Fix. Join your host, Dr. Janine Kraus, as she gives you a dose of what you need to know and do right now to take control of your health from the inside out, to rebel against aging, look damn good, fight stress, and laugh every day.
Hello there, Health Junkies. Welcome to another episode of The Health Fix. I'm your host, Dr. Janine Kraus, and today's episode is all about the Smart Gut Report and what it has to tell you about your gut issues. So, if you have gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, IBS, Crohn's, or even ulcerative colitis, this podcast is for you today. You absolutely want to stay tuned. So, what am I talking about when I say the Smart Gut Report? Well, there is a company out there called uBiome, and they're a microbial genomics company that focuses on how your portfolio of gut bugs affects your health. Now you might be thinking, okay, is this an infomercial? Dr. Kraus, what's happening here? Full disclosure, I'm not getting any money from uBiome to do this podcast. I really find what uBiome does fascinating, and I want to share it with you. So that's why today's podcast is dedicated to the Smart Gut Report and how it can affect your life in a dramatic way. So you need to check it out. So what the heck is uBiome? uBiome, like I said before, is a microbial genomics company, meaning they sequence your gut bug DNA and relate it to certain health conditions that you might have or might develop in the future based on your balance of gut bugs. So uBiome was founded in 2012 by Stanford, Oxford, UCSF educated researchers. So you've got some big heads in the science world who helped to create uBiome. Now, they are continuously doing research. They have over 50 scientists working together to keep compiling data, because not only is uBiome a company that helps you to figure out your gut bug issues and how to treat them, they also are compiling all of the gut bug DNA data so that we can relate what types of gut bugs people have in certain areas. So from North America compared to Africa or in Europe, but also relate that back to the healthiest populations and what types of gut bugs they have, or the sickest populations and what types of gut bugs they have, and basically so we can try to figure out the ideal balance of gut bugs to keep ourselves healthy. Now, of course, everyone is individual. However, it's fascinating to think that we can use specific data on our gut bugs to keep ourselves healthy over time. So going through a little timeline with uBiome, the Smart Gut testing was actually released in 2016, but really started to become popular in 2017. uBiome also just released a Smart Jane vaginal microbe testing kit in 2017, which is really fascinating because not only do we have specific gut bacteria, we have specific vaginal bacteria, we have specific mouth, nose bacteria too. And as you've heard in other podcasts from me, these bacteria do have a lot to say about what types of conditions we develop and don't develop. So we are kind of on the verge of really getting into gut microbes and their implications for for our overall health. And I think it's an exciting time. And I wanted to share all this with you. So one of the things you might be thinking about, ooh, I don't really want to submit my DNA and have it tested. Well, you know what? I think it's kind of a great thing to contribute to the overall good here. And if you are a citizen scientist like me, I think it's fun, and I think it's fun to be a part of something. So there you have it in terms of the background on uBiome. Now, what's also cool is that they have this Explorer program, and that's basically if you just want to know what gut bugs you have, maybe you don't have any current issues, you just want to know what's going on, you can spend $89 and figure those out. Or if you're going through a lifestyle change, maybe you changed your diet up, you went from eating all kinds of crap and now you're eating clean and you want to know if it's affected your gut, you can do a test before and after, or you can monitor yourself after to see those changes in your gut bugs, because your gut bugs can change in 2 weeks. You can make huge impactful change in 2 weeks. So something to think about. And so checking for lifestyle change, they are only charging $199 to do that follow-up. And I think that's pretty cool. Now I'm not here to sell uBiome per se. I'm really actually here to let you know that it's out there, because I think a lot of people want to take charge of their own health, don't know how to go about it. And uBiome is one of the places that you can get started with that. So even further, if you want to know what kind of bugs you've got in your mouth, your nose, your gut, your skin, and your genitals, you can spend $3.99 and figure that out. Now, one of the cool things about knowing what gut bugs you have on your skin is huge, because we have a lot of people who have psoriasis, who have eczema, who have chronic acne issues, and have no idea where to go with that, because there's the typical gut bugs, or not gut bugs, skin bugs associated with acne, such as P. acnes, but there are other microbes that could be out of balance causing your skin issues. So something else to think about, because I think a lot of us don't think of our gut skin being very similar to our outward skin compared to our mouth skin, compared to our nose skin. It's all skin. They're all tissue issues. They're all crawling with bugs, which might sound really gross, but the reality of it is we have 2 to 6 pounds of bacteria hanging out on us, helping us, protecting us, but also keeping us either healthy or not healthy. And I think it's important to kind of have a really good sense of all of your bugs. It's cool. So I'm totally going to geek out today. So if you are up for geeking out with me, dive on in with me. We're going to go deep into the gut bug world. So really, like I mentioned before, knowing what gut bugs you have puts you at an advantage for tackling current issues. So if you currently have some gut issues, or preventing certain conditions, because we've now discovered that diabetes often is related to your gut bugs, not necessarily your let's put it this way, your fascination with treats and candies, because I have a ton of people in my practice that I've met that they don't eat poorly. They just eat certain things in excess, or they have certain gut bugs that have predisposed them to developing diabetes. Now, another biggie is obesity and being overweight. I truly believe that a lot of people who struggle with weight loss are having trouble with their gut bugs more than they are with their willpower. So that's a whole nother concept that you can work with knowing your gut bugs. So I like to think of looking at gut bugs as a way of dialing in your health by precisely fine-tuning your gut bug balance. You can dial it in, and that's really what uBiome is aiming to help physicians and citizen scientists like me and yourself do. So with that 2 to 6 pounds of bugs that we've got going on right now in our system, those bugs can really manipulate your mood, they can manipulate your health, they can manipulate your blood sugar balance and your absorption of nutrients. So that's a lot of function that those bugs have, and a lot of control over you in particular. Think about that. So, all right, talked a little bit about the smart gut testing. How does it work? You might be thinking, what do I have to do? Because playing with poop for some people is pretty gross. And yes, I actually make people do some preliminary testing prior to using Smart Gut right now. What I'll do is use the GI effects test through Genova Diagnostics. And yes, you have to play with your poop. You've got to scoop your poop, put it into some vials, and have it tested. And the reason I'm using GI effects prior to using the Smart Gut testing is that the GI effects tells me how much inflammation is on the gut lining of a patient. Are they breaking down foods in terms of, is their pancreas working? So are they creating enough of the digestive enzymes they need to break down the fats, proteins, and carbs? Also, the GI effects testing and actually the expanded stool testing can also help us to look at, is there an allergic reaction happening on the gut lining? So is someone secreting a bunch of something called secretory IgA? And so looking at the comprehensive stool testing before doing Smart Gut testing is something that I do. Doesn't have to be done, but one of the ways that I incorporate the Smart Gut testing in is after that I've done a comprehensive stool test. Because another thing with some of the comprehensive stool testing is that I can determine if someone has protein fibers, so meat fibers in their stool. I can determine if they have fat in their stool or excessive carbs in their stool. And that tells me about the pancreatic function. So it's kind of a more well-rounded look at digestive function as a whole. And so the reason I'm putting it out there in this podcast is because if you're struggling with digestive issues and you're trying to figure out what exactly is the problem with your gut, you want to look at gut bugs, but you also want to look at the functional aspect of your digestive system. So that's why I'm putting it out there, because gut bugs are going to tell you what's happening in your gut, what's happening in terms of breakdown of food on a gut level, but it's not going to tell you about your pancreatic function. It's not going to tell you about allergic reaction function. It's going to be more on the level of what gut bugs do you have? Are they in balance? Are they lacking? And that tells us in terms of what types of conditions you might be predisposed to or why you might have diarrhea, constipation, etc. But it's not going to tell about the specific digestive function in terms of breakdown of fat, proteins, and carbs via the pancreas. So it's not going to tell you about pancreatic function. It's not going to tell you about allergic function. So just so you keep that clear here. Now, how does uBiome test your gut bugs? Well, what they're doing is having you swab your poop on toilet paper. So swabs. So you wipe your butt, you got to do that. You know, maybe you think that's gross too, but it's better than fiddling with the vials, that's for sure. So you take some swabs of your stool on the toilet paper and you put it into little vials and you send that kit off. And that kit goes to uBiome's lab in San Francisco, which that lab is a legit lab, and by that it's CLIA certified, CLIA certified. This is a big deal to get that certification. You got to jump through a lot of hoops. So the fact that they are CLIA certified, that is a legit lab. So that's what you want to be looking for when you're looking for laboratory testing, CLIA certified. Now, those results you're going to send off in that kit. They're going to go over there. Then you're going to get some results coming back to you or your doctor, because the Smart Gut testing you can order yourself. You don't need a doctor to order it. You can request the kit right on their website at ubiome.com, and you can get everything right to you. Now, I recommend if you do have a primary care doc, you tell your doc about this. You got a gastroenterologist, tell him about it or her about it. And if you have a naturopath like me, tell them about it and really work with your doc, because I think the more information that the doc has in addition to you, the better. If they don't want to listen to you, find a new doctor. That's bottom line. This is huge information, because this stuff, if a doc doesn't want to incorporate this into their practice and decision making for you, they're missing out. Flat out missing out. So right now, one of the cool things with uBiome is that they're working with a pilot program. And what that means is they are submitting your insurance information. So they take insurance. So you can run your uBiome testing through insurance. That's pretty darn cool. And this is for the Smart Gut portion of their testing. And with it, they also allow for you to retest every 2 weeks to see where your progress is with your gut bug change, which is so awesome. Now, the only bummer here is that Medicare, Medicaid, and Kaiser Permanente are not included in their pilot program. But you're in luck. Ubiome is still working with you to be able to help you get the testing that you need, and they've got payment plans in terms of a financial hardship application and things of that nature. So if you have, say, Regence, Premera, United Healthcare, those companies, the bigger insurance companies, they're big names, you can get this testing done and you don't have to pay at all, which is pretty sweet. And if you want more information, go over to ubiome.com. You can check it all out in terms of that. So another big incentive, use your insurance to help you. Deductibles don't apply. All that stuff does not apply. So that's pretty cool. And Ubiome can tell you more about that. So take advantage of it, this pilot program. Okay, so what do you get when you get your results from Ubiome? You actually find out what gut bugs you have in your system currently. So you're going to get a list of your gut bugs related to the types of conditions that these gut bugs are associated with. So for example, diarrhea. If you suffer with chronic diarrhea and you have multiple different symptoms, you're going to see a list of the different bacteria that you have in your gut and their impact on the diarrhea. So it's going to say low, moderate, high in terms of the amount of the gut bugs. And then you can work with that to determine, okay, if I have a high amount of Clostridia species, for example, Clostridium difficile is one of the most common gut bacteria that causes diarrhea. And if you have that in excess, that is most likely one of your causes of the diarrhea. Now, you might have high E. coli, you might have high Campylobacter. Those particular bacteria might also be causing your diarrhea. Or maybe you have none of those in terms of excess. You have them, but they're in a balanced level, but you have no lactobacillus. Lactobacillus is a beneficial bacteria. It's in all of the probiotics on the market. And if you have no lactobacillus and you have diarrhea, well, that's now your cause. Now, here's a big thing. Lactobacillus is in all of your probiotics. And if you get tested and you don't have lactobacillus in your gut, that means you're wasting your probiotics. Another reason to get the smart gut testing to figure out if your money you're pumping into your probiotics is actually working. And does it mean that your probiotics suck? Well, it depends on what brand you have, but it also is if your gut lining is irritated because you have an excess of certain bacteria, or you have a food allergy going on, or you can't break down, let's say, fats or proteins or carbs, you're going to have issues with lactobacillus living, because lactobacillus, that particular bacteria, is super sensitive. It's hard to grow on the gut lining. You need to curate it a little bit. And so knowing that you're not growing lactobacillus means you need to work on your gut lining. So leaky gut, healing up the gut, things of that nature. So you get a plethora of information from just knowing what gut bugs you have or you don't. Now, diarrhea is just one of the conditions that is broken down with the smart gut testing. You also will see gas, you'll see bloating, you'll see IBS, IBD, obesity, Crohn, ulcerative colitis, diabetes, and kidney stones. And so it'll all be broken down based on conditions, and then you'll see what bacteria you have in excess or deficiency related to those conditions so that you can help yourself to balance it out. And Ubiome gives you information in terms of what type of diet and lifestyle factors you need to work on to help to balance that bacteria. Also, if you have a lot of excess bacteria that is called pathogenic bacteria, so disease producing, kind of like the Clostridium species, they will also make a recommendation for what antibiotics you need to help to treat that. Now, they don't make recommendations for herbal-based antibiotics, so herbal biotics, and that's where I come in, and other naturopaths come in to help you in that case. Also, functional medicine docs and nurse practitioners who are trained in functional medicine too. This is where we shine to help you to take your smart gut bacterial testing to another level. So keep that in mind. But this is really cool because this testing really dials it in for you. There's no guessing anymore. And even with my testing, the GI effects testing from Genova, I have a lot of this information in terms of what bacteria, but I don't have it broken down in the way that Ubiome breaks it down. I have to do the work myself, which sucks. But hey, you know what? I think for the average individual, getting testing from SmartGut, the SmartGut testing really will break it down for you in a simple way and help you to know where to go from there. Plus, Ubiome does do doctor-to-peer consults, and so your doctor can talk to you about what your results, but you can also get in touch with docs on staff at Ubiome to talk through your results and what to do with them. So it's really cool. All right, so you might be thinking at this point, well, how do they know that certain bacteria are related to diarrhea or certain bacteria are related to developing obesity or current obesity? Well, we know this because the scientists at Ubiome have actually compiled multiple data, and there's lots of research based on what bacteria are related to Crohn's disease, which bacteria are related to obesity, which bacteria is related to chronic constipation. And so what Ubiome's done is compiled all that data and then used it as a cross-reference. So what we're essentially doing is using hundreds of research studies backed by top scientists to determine which course of action to go and with your bacteria that you find in your gut. So it's pretty cool. Now, the other thing is you're also contributing to more and more research by submitting your gut bug DNA, because now your symptoms that you'll report to Ubiome will also be compiled based on the gut bugs you have. And so you're also contributing to research while you're doing your own research on your gut bugs. So super, super cool. So I love that you're not only going to learn what's happening currently with your gut bugs, but you're going to learn about your risk of developing diabetes, developing kidney stones, or developing Crohn's or ulcerative colitis for that matter. It's pretty cool. So I really have enjoyed incorporating in the GIFX and the Ubiome data together. It makes a good overall comprehensive test for my patients. And I really think that being able to retest every 2 weeks using the SmartGut testing program is highly beneficial because it keeps patients engaged. It also keeps you knowing as a doctor where you can make change and what changes work and what changes don't, versus kind of stabbing in the dark, testing folks, once and then guessing after that, oh, I think we might have cleared up that infection, but you don't even know if you've cleared up the excessive amount of a certain bacteria and brought up the other amount of it. Plus, I think a lot of people are taking probiotics out there and have no idea if they're really working or not. I think that's pretty common in my practice. A lot of people will say, yeah, I'm taking these probiotics. I just take them because I was told they were good for me. Don't really know if they're helping. So absolutely cool way to get a sense of, get rid of that doubt, get a sense of, are my probiotics working and what do I need to do about it? So how do you get a hold of SmartGut testing? You got to go over to ubiome.com and request a kit. It's super easy. Like I said before, you don't need a doc to do it. You can tell your doc about this testing and that you did get it done, and hopefully they're really psyched about that because it's an amazing way to be proactive about your health and manage your current nagging gut issues. Now, if you're wanting more information on SmartGut testing, there's a ton of info on ubiome.com. Head on over there, check it out. You can see the Smart Jane program if you're a lady and having some vaginal issues too. You can see their Explorer program if you just want to know what's going on, or you're working on a program right now and you want to be able to check out your progress and don't want to run it through insurance. Check that out. They also have an amazing blog, and I'm a super science geek, of course, as you all know. I am a pure health junkie and a geek to the core, and they have a great blog with a ton of science information there. So check out their blog too. Now, If you didn't have a chance to write down ubiome.com, you can go over to my website at drjkrausnd.com, check out the show notes from this episode, and click right on ubiome. I've linked it there. I've also linked the Smart Gut testing and the Smart Jane and the Explorer program, so you can just one click and find all of those different programs and check them out and compare them to see what you think. So this episode has been a little bit more of an information-based episode on the Smart Gut testing by ubiome, and I really highly recommend that you at least check it out, because I think that a lot of us could be more proactive about our health, and starting with the gut is probably one of the best places to go, because I truly believe that having the best gut balance really does contribute to our longevity, contribute to our overall mood, our sense of well-being, and our general health. So head on over to ubiome.com, check it out, see what you think, leave me some comments, let me know what you think of it. If you get the testing and you got some interesting results, put a comment up on the website. I'd love to hear from you. I love feedback. And don't forget that I'm still taking questions for the podcast. I'd love to answer questions on the podcast. So shoot me some messages. Let me know what you're thinking, what you want to learn about, and I am here to help. So once again, you've survived another episode of The Health Fix. I'm your host, Dr. Janine Krause. Have a great day, whatever you're doing. Thanks for tuning in to The Health Fix, the podcast all about taking control of your health, rebelling against aging, and having fun every day. A lot of patients ask me, do you think I'm aging too fast? So, I created an evaluation checklist for you to see for yourself. Plus, I created a resource guide to help you slow down the aging process right now. You can find it for free on my website, drjkrausnd.com. If you like this podcast, help get the word out to others by liking it and rating it. If you'd like more natural health tips and want to join our Facebook community where I interact daily, click on the Join Group button on our website at drjkrausnd.com.